Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. I will ask the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening on the 9th of July and completed by the summer recess.
Warning, this podcast is intended for mature audiences only. It contains adult language, themes, and humor. Everything said here is for comedic and satirical purposes only. It is not to be taken literally, and nothing in the show should be used as a basis for legal proceedings or real-world actions. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome back to another episode of Slightly Offensive, the best, worst show on the internet, and the absolute worst news cycle I think I've ever experienced in history. We got the confetti of color. Whenever we only have white people on here, we put that up because it's COC and everybody likes a little diversity, the colors and the confetti and the COCs in your face. Joining me today to talk about Keir Starmer is my resident DJ as well as producer, makes all the music, all the Emmy nominations, all the Grammys. It's my boy, Georgie. Welcome back.
What's up, everybody? It's Georgie. I'm back, and I got the GM 2100 on right now. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to shout out Indie Noticer. He's leaving Rift as of today. He just left. So we want to thank you, Indie, for all the contributions to the website that you've provided for us and all your great articles. We will miss them, my friend. Thank you for everything.
Absolutely. So today we're talking a little bit about the failure of what's going on in the United Kingdom, particularly very close in time to the report from Lowe about the rape gangs. I said, rape gangs. Can I get a round of applause? Oh, never mind. Okay. Anyways, I thought we were supposed to like those because apparently we didn't do anything about them, or they didn't do anything about them. And this is odd timing where people are pretty pissed. This is also at the same time the Belfast riots are well underway, and the anti-immigrant sentiment is rising. It's a shame here. Check this out on my screen here, that the guy that they chose to be Prime Minister, Keir Starmer of the United Kingdom, while he was the director of public prosecutions, it was reported that 13,000 suspected rape gang members and pedophiles were let off with warning letters. Okay? I bet you Jeffrey Epstein wishes he was in the United Kingdom. He might be alive today. Hey, Jeffrey, you bad little boy. You're not supposed to rape them. Don't molest people. He's like, oh, man, I don't want it like that. It's like, now go back in the streets and don't rape again, little boy. Keir Starmer is resigning here. And if you don't know about the multi-party system, if you've never been and lived in a colony, as people know, I've been in and out of Australia for more or less the last decade. I've seen the failure and the pros of this system, of a multi-party system. But what does this mean? Why is this relevant to us as Americans? Plus, we're going to be talking about the possibility of heightened action in Iran. It is boring. I know these topics suck, but we do have a lot of anti-Indian sentiment to share on the show today, which I think is fantastic, as well as some racial stuff. It's like my dad asked me, why do you talk about that every show? I go, well, when we find the solution, I'll stop talking about it. But it looks like we're just going to keep going and talking about it, you know? It's sort of like the racial problem is like getting back with your ex or something. You remember that, like in high school? It's like, you're like, maybe they changed. Maybe you were the ex. It's like, you know, people don't really change. You can't change people. And if you can't change people's personalities, can you change their genetics? Probably not. I don't think that really works very well. Let's jump right into this. So we played you a little clip at the beginning of Keir Starmer, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, resigning. This tweet here from St. Benny Johnson said, Keir Starmer has officially resigned as British Prime Minister. Here's a quick breakdown of what he accomplished over the past 2 years. He allowed an Islamic third world invasion of the UK and the destruction of Western civilization. Again, he didn't cause it. It's been going down, but he continued to allow it to happen. He increased government censorship. They just released the, you have to have an ID. You can't be anonymous anymore on the internet to save children. Might I remind you, though, that that act that happened, it ended up being that 4 kids is what they always do. The government always says, and this is the only quote that I will say, or one of the few things I like what Ronald Reagan did, was he said, the scariest words you can hear is, I'm from the government, I'm here to help you. And that is a true statement. Ronald, you should have taken your own advice there. Maybe the amnesty wasn't a good idea. I can't walk down streets in LA anymore. It's not very nice. So that's true, right? It's the government said, we're going to help you. We're going to protect your kids. And what did they do? It's pretty much as they did to the internet, what they did to sexual education. Like, they told their kids about anal sex and they gave them condoms. And it's like, that is not helping my kids. Like, what? It's not helping my kids. They did the same thing. They're like, well, we're going to ban under 16s, but everybody's got to show their ID now. So just a reminder that the United Kingdom has had more arrests in the last 12 months than Russia, China, Turkey, I think, and North Korea combined for online offenses. Next, they made it illegal to criticize the government online. I was at dinner for Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. We'll talk about a tweet of mine later, how retarded the internet is. People don't know how to read, and everyone just reads through a lens. But basically, we went to a Japanese restaurant the night before. I spent some more time with him. Sometimes parents are better in small doses. You know what I mean? It's like heroin. Just do a little bit in the morning, and you'll feel better in life. No, I'm kidding, but it's true. But I don't do it. No, we went to a Japanese restaurant, and he was like, I asked the guy if he was Japanese, because he did, and he was like, no, I'm Chinese actually. Maybe 10 years ago. And my dad decided, instead of ordering food, to talk to him about the problems of not being able to criticize the Chinese government in China, like you would expect your dad to do. And I'm just like, dude, please. He's like, you can't criticize the government. And we always said that about China, but it's like, that's actually happening in the West too, by the way. It's happening particularly in Europe in a lot of ways. You get arrested for criticizing the government's policies, for talking about your own country. It's not enough that you have to vote or break the law. In most of these countries, you have to vote, by the way. It's illegal to not vote. But you have to support everything, and you have to like your kids getting raped. So that's kind of unfortunate. He also made it illegal. On top of that, he restricted religious freedoms for Christians. I don't know if you've seen a lot of individuals, particularly getting arrested for praying. There was they have these zones, these no political activism zones. And I just saw this recently. A woman, old lady, got arrested and charged, I believe, with several misdemeanors for praying in her mind against abortion. Praying silently in her mind. And they asked her, and what are you doing? She's like, I'm praying in my mind. Like, you're not allowed to pray here. And they arrested her. So too bad she wasn't Muslim. She should have raped some kids if she wanted to get off arrest. That's what they do in the UK these days. Inshallah, I'd like to read you one quick message here of a comment that I got on my Father's Day post that I thought was really heartwarming, extremely beautiful. Just to remind you of how great Muslims are, it said, your son should be ashamed of you. You are truly a sick human being, Elijah. May Allah drone strike you into 1,000,000 pieces and send you to Jahannam ASAP. Hey, buddy, I don't speak gibberish, but I'm sure my kids would understand that because they say words like that. I'm like, Jahannam. I don't speak your scribble language. I remember I got a tweet one time I made fun of Iran, the government. I don't know why, but X took it down for racism. And I said, I don't read scribbles. I said, I stopped squibbling or something like that on paper when I was 4. I go, you want me to be afraid of a government who still scribbles? It's like little lines, little dots. I'm not really afraid of them. On top of that, he also ostracized white people as racist and bigots. To clarify to the Anglo-Saxon today, I think that all non-white people need to really take note, and I heard Myron Gaines, who's not white, say this on his podcast, Fresh and Fit. Shout out Fresh and Fit. Shout out Myron Gaines. Good guy. Love him. Very good friend. He said, I think this was him. Maybe I'm misquoting him, or maybe it's the wrong person, but I think he said something like, hey, white people aren't afraid of being called racist anymore, and brown people should start taking note of that. Have you ever seen what happened when white people don't care that they're called racist? You ever seen history? You know what happens when white people who are high IQ, well organized, and know how to strategically accomplish great feats of architecture, conquest, and civilization, what they do to brown people when they don't want them there anymore? We might see a reverse Zimbabweization one day, hopefully. But he demonized whites. That's like the Henry Nowak case, right? Mm-hmm. You die in custody. And I got to say that plus the rape gangs and stuff, I could see why the Labor Party needs a change. Just reminding you, the Labor Party's still in power, so there's not going to be a change. It's bread and circus. He also contributed to a large-scale government cover-up of Pakistani rape gangs. We mentioned that. That's been a very big story, one of our last shows. So perhaps it was time for the Labour Party to switch the face. We call that the Obamification of a government. You just put a new face that everybody likes, and everyone forgets that's the same government, and nothing's changed. Listen.
6 years ago, I inherited a Labour Party that was politically, financially, and morally bankrupt. I was told time and time again that my party was finished, that we were consigned to history, that a majority at the general election, let alone a landslide majority, was impossible. But we proved those people wrong because we changed our party, ripping out the poison of anti-Semitism, restoring trust on the economy, defence and national security, and becoming a party that once again stood proudly with, not against, our national flag. The hard work of change was with a singular purpose, not power for power's sake, but to change Britain for the better, to build a fairer country with dignity and respect, where everyone is seen, everyone is valued, wealth and opportunity for all,
As long as
not
you are
just
brown.
Yeah, I want to bring up a video here. It's a European video, by the way, so it's not directly in the United Kingdom, but I think what people realize and continue to expect is I saw this tweet about France, another country undergoing the similar problems in the United Kingdom, and it's from the Daily Mail, a UK-based publication, said Brits are caught up in terrifying night of violence as, quote, French. Very important word there. French. Not a music festival in France, but Frenchmen. These Frenchmen.
These Frenchmen, always up to something.
They're always up to something. French music festival descends into stabbings and rapes, with multiple people stabbed with syringes. Unless it was Red a True Tide, I disagree with that. These French women are fat, and they're short, and they have attitude, okay? Get those women on some Red a True Tide. Now, if you take that off here, an account named Bajir, who's from the UK, put up a clip of this French music festival and said, and you're not even allowed to say why. Wow. Well, I used to be an investigative reporter. I've retired somewhat, a little bit. And so I could say I don't really have the pedigree or the education to make assumptions here. But if I had to guess why this French music festival had third world, ghetto, Africanized crime happening at it, would probably be because the French are racist. That's what I would think. I think it has to do with racism and white people. And I'd like to blame white people for this because, well, you got to not just love blacks, you got to ignore all their shortcomings. And it's easy to do because they don't have any. Henry Nowak deserved to die because if you think about it, he said a mean word. And it's like, they said he didn't, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Better to kill a racist before they're convicted. Am I right, folks?
True.
Am I right? Better to have a dead white person, you know, who dies and suffocates in his own blood than for a little black person to be called a nigger. Yeah, we don't like that. That's mean. Don't be doing that. Die racist. So, you know, I just got to say, I'm loving the new Europe. A new series coming out called The New America. I'm loving the new Europe, loving the new America. It's looking beautiful. It's looking very shady, not like in a negative, which is very like the sundown, you know, it's looking like a little dark. But everybody loves a dark comedy. Everybody loves a dark, moody palette on a goth chick, you know? Dark isn't always bad unless they're raping, stabbing you, and injecting you with drugs and possibly diseases. But as we know, it's not their fault. It's the French, and what the French are doing is, you know, from guillotines to syringes, these people love a good prick, you know what I mean? And the guys are all bisexual, so they like pricks too. That's actually true in there. They're very weird. All right. So the point is that, like, you know, the issues in UK are not just United Kingdom issues, okay? And you've heard the painters speech is translated, have you not, on TikTok before they banned them?
Yeah, everyone has.
So there's a new set of speeches out that are translated, smaller speeches by a man named Goebbels. Have you listened to those?
No.
Holy shit. I already saw they're flagged on YouTube, so I can't play them here right now. They already flagged them. I already read about it. It's like you can't play translated speeches or whatever. But wow. I listened to one of his speeches recently, and we lost World War II. He was like, if we're gonna let he's basically said, if we're gonna let the, well, obviously condemn this, by the way, but he said something crazy, which I gotta say, thank God we defeated the Nazis, the evil Nazis. It's like I said, Nowak deserved to die. The Nazis, evil, bad.
Real.
It's just so bad because he said, like, basically that the United States was far lost. It had been Judified. To a point to where basically the negrification of the culture was inevitable, and their coordination with the banking cartel inside of the United Kingdom, that if they got their way, that it would no longer be safe at one point in the near future for your women to walk on the streets, that rape would become legalized, but only for those who don't look like us. And he talked about the fact that crime would be ignored because the powers that be in the United States and England will let the country fall before they admit they were wrong. That they will let all of Europe crumble, the United States crumble, rather than admit that they were wrong. And it's kind of a crazy speech. And I'm like, thank God it's safe in Chicago today. That fucking loser, like, lying to us. Oh, Nazis. Oh, you're gonna be black people shooting you in your streets, and you can't take public transportation. And, like, you know, and I also saw a study done recently about non-diverse areas and non-diverse large cities and non-diverse countries. And the less diverse, by white places, I mean, they are, the later the nightlife is, and, like, people are just walking around, stores are open until 2 a.m, malls are open until 11, 12 o'clock. The moment you introduce minorities and immigrants into a community, everything starts closing early. And I think the reason why is because white people are racist and they need to be re-educated. They need to be re-educated, possibly in camps, with theaters and things like that, smokestacks, delousing chambers. Got to put all the whites in the chambers, because it's like
for real.
Yeah, it's what we got to do. Got to get those whites. We got to keep teaching them. And I only bring that up because the United Kingdom is a country where I don't know if you saw the FIFA World Cup. The English displayed the St. George's Cross, their flag, pretty much everywhere. And I don't know if this is true, but I believe that in this recent World Cup was the most St. George's crosses up in one specific square kilometer region. I know we do miles here. Than at any point in modern recorded history in the United Kingdom. So we didn't. And someone said that's weird. The police didn't tear them down. So the British are more likely able to exercise freedom to display their own flag in the United States, a country that, well, we're at war with, than they can do in their own country. That being said, Andrew Tate.
We love him.
I really like Andrew.
We love him.
I really like him. And I think genuinely he's been good to me over the years. Yeah. And I think the things they say about him are a lie. And I'm literally by no means ever going to buy into the baloney about him. Okay?
Apparently Sneeko tried to sleep with him. Did you hear that?
Really?
Yeah, he did a whole video about it, how Sneeko tried to sleep with him.
Oh, he did it. I was like, I don't do conjecture.
No, he didn't try to sleep with Sneeko.
No, I'm saying it came from Andrew Tate's mouth.
It came from Andrew Tate, yeah, a video that he made. He was being interviewed and he said Sneeko tried to have sex with me. So, good night, Sneeko.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. By the way, thank you, Sneeko, because this entire Riff project was originally created for a podcast with Sneeko, who he called out the night before. So, thank you for that. That was really nice of you. Very brown-coated. But Andrew Tate, despite being mixed race, this is why I say you can't just be racist. He is half English, and I would say, like, can we get back to also the fact that there's a lot of white pussies? Like, some men just get it. And Andrew Tate doesn't live in a fully white country. He lives in Romania. It's contested whether that's actually white. It's European, but check this out.
But I also want to make something very clear to all the people at home and clear to you that most of the white people are very frustrated and they're finding an enemy amongst themselves to take it out on. I think that the white people on these streets have a lot more in common with the brown people on these streets than they do with the politicians, because that's the problem we have here. Keir did not just only say they're going to face the full force of the law. He told everybody with a point of view, everybody who's concerned about the safety of their children, that they are extremists. And that is the most aggravating language you can possibly choose when people finally have had enough of not feeling safe on their own streets any longer. We have people who cannot afford to pay their bills watching migrants arrive who are now being held up in hotels at the taxpayers' expense for indefinite periods of time. We're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. Nobody voted for it. Nobody wants it. And everybody's struggling to pay their bills. Energy prices are through the roof. Inflation is through the roof. Now they no longer feel safe on their streets. They don't want to put their daughters outside to play. The police won't protect them. The police won't turn up for most crimes unless it's something you say bad on Facebook. And when they look for a political solution, they're ignored. What kind of powder keg are we building here through incompetent leadership in the UK? This is nothing but a leadership failure. There's not a country in the world where leadership could fail this spectacularly and see any
Andrew,
different result.
All right.
And he said it quite clearly. Like, the point is our government system has failed, and so they are importing voters. But I also do believe, I think it's a lot more nefarious, Georgie. Like I don't want to take like the Wignat approach of that, you know, it's just like our government's just failed. It was a calculated destruction. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they failed. I think it's working exactly as planned. I think that this is the purpose. This is the place. And we're not just talking about the United Kingdom. Let's go back to 2011 in the United States. I was in, where were you in 2011?
I was playing Modern Warfare 2 on my PlayStation.
Jerking off again, huh? That's what he calls it. Yeah. Little Timmy didn't want to play with toys anymore.
I was sharing a PS4 with my brother.
Penis.
Fighting over game
Penis
time.
4?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Hey.
No, but 2011, just graduated high school myself, going into University of California, Irvine. And I remember around this time, this is Obama. This is his first term. And we had something called Prop 8 in California. And what governments have realized is in California, you know, California voted against gay marriage. That's actually isn't that like almost hard to believe? Like the country grew up and doesn't exist anymore. But California voted unanimously against legalizing gay marriage. And I remember at the time, they were like, what's going to happen? You're going to start, you know, gay people are going to start trying to force your kids to become gay. You're like, wow, I don't even need to go back to Goebbels. It's just like, well, oops. Yikes. That didn't work out too well. The Supreme Court went ahead and legalized it under civil rights amendments there. And now the majority of Americans accept gay marriage genuinely. And, you know, this is going to make our real conservative people happy. But it's like, I'm from LA, you know. I am gay and retarded myself. So, you know, it's like, I'm not like spooked out by gay people. I do have gay friends and I don't really care. Maybe you do. And that's probably good. You probably grew up better than I did. But ultimately speaking, I've never heard a gay person I knew desire to get married. And I don't think that was the people of America who weren't gay, who even had gay friends, obviously were like, nah, probably not a good idea to redefine a rudimentary core pillar structural institution in our country that's already failing due to no-fault divorce in the 80s. And even for fault, giving women rights was already a problem to begin with, the women's suffrage movement. It turns out that perhaps giving gay, you know, once we legalized gay marriage, I think that was the death of marriage.
I agree.
I think it was the death of marriage because marriage is just, I'm not going to go too long on this, but marriage now is just the state now defines what marriage is.
Well, that was before gay marriage, right?
No, that's 2012 was when it got pushed.
No, I know, but like marriage was a problem.
No, I said that was the death of it.
As soon as women got the right to vote, I think that's the beginning of the end for marriage.
Well, postmodernism really was too, the civil rights movement. But I mean, that was the start of it. But it's like go from women's suffrage to the legalization of gay marriage. It was like legalize it. Gays could already have unions.
The final candle, yeah.
Yeah. That became the, like we used to joke about it. There was a movie, I think, with the mall cop guy, I think, or something like that. And it was like they were like firemen and they had to be gay and get married to like get tax breaks or something. And we used to laugh at it like, oh, just guys like pretending to be married. It was like, no one's going to do this shit.
Right.
And I actually don't know. Are gays getting married a lot now? I don't know. I don't know the stats, but most of the gay people I know have several hundred, several thousand sex partners. So not sure that's what marriage was for. But you know, you do you, Cupid. Yeah. But what I'm saying here is that he brings up a point. It's like the government just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. The government's supposed to represent the will of the people. They're supposed to do what's best on behalf of the people. And where the problem is and where it remains and why I stay focused on racial identity, demographics as the core identity of what I'm concerned about, even above religion, is because if you don't have a unified people, then you will never have a reflective government and you will never be able to organize because the government will always be able to hold power by manipulating the people who are not the original people against them. We saw that here in Frisco, Texas. It's had a big mayoral race that just happened.
Yep.
Vilhauer versus Mark Hill in a runoff contested vote. Vilhauer is Christian. He once called, I believe, mark my words, I don't know the exact quote, but he called Islam like an enemy religion or like a terrorist ideology. And I was just in front of Walgreens picking up according to the internet, my 271 prescriptions I take for schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, rape, and pedophilia or whatever they're saying today. So, you know, yeah, you got to take all those medications. No, I just stopped by Walgreens to grab a Coke Zero. I just pulled in and I look at this big sign. It's like, Vilhauer. It was like, said something like, it was a giant sign. It was like, Islam leads to it's like a terroristic ideology, some quote, I'm misquoting it, but it was about this. And basically what the Hindus did, the Hindus who don't align with the Muslims, created a faction here in Frisco, and they got Mark Hill in. And you know what Mark Hill did? The pro-Indian mayor? He worshipped a demon the next day. He went to a Hindu temple and worshipped Vishnu with the stinky jeeps.
Clothes, yeah.
Yeah, in their demon clothes. Mm-hmm. So my point of what Andrew Tate is saying here is pretty interesting. You know, we can get rid of these people, but it's like the system itself doesn't work anymore. And it might sound like extremely, like, I get mad at the young people, I'm not saying who. I get mad at the young people, not saying who else, who come on this show who have this idealistic view of the world. You know, it's like, well, we just got to convert everyone to Christianity. And I always say, move to the DRC tonight. I will buy your ticket. It's a Christian nation and enjoy it. You might not have your hands tomorrow. Enjoy living in a Christian nation. It is a racial issue we're dealing with in our country. It really is. It is a demographic issue. That's all it is. That's really the point of it. Because I know, despite the trans issues, tax issues, and things that have happened in the Northeast, go to a white Democrat atheistic city and you would rather live there than a deeply black Christian city in Mississippi. Period. Yeah. Period.
It's Jews, women, and blacks, or minorities,
that we love
overall.
Yeah, that we love. Thank a Jew and a black and minority today.
Yeah, don't forget.
Don't forget.
For all they've done for you.
For all they've done for you and all they've done for me. Thank all of the blacks for the giant families from crack cocaine.
Okay.
I was going to say, I had a lot of lyrics. I just been writing love songs towards them. I'm very, very happy about it.
Well, we've got a lot more to get through here.
Yeah. So
the white girls are fed up at the police.
Yeah. So that's where we're at here.
Pull that up.
I will. Give me 1 second here. Shout out to our mods. If you guys could mod the chats a little better. I think you appreciate you guys, but there's a lot of things slipping through the cracks, and we need to get these. We need to get these people. There is some weirdos doing some weirdo stuff. Is all I'm gonna say, and it's pretty crazy over here with their weirdo stuff. But kind of gotta find them.
Which YouTube or?
And I just took care of it in Rumble here.
All right.
So it looks like it's not just us. Okay, so speaking of women, looks like UK British girls are fed up with what's going on here. Check out this video from Tommy Robinson. Watch.
Go on, you money!
Yeah, you won't be dispersed for the breach of the peace. Yeah, we get lots of money for you. Just don't swear and get moving.
Yo, what's he doing? Yo, was he mad?
Like how they're like squaring up with him.
Look at the fridge. That's the girl who won't let you date the other hotties.
Yo, he's got the
They're taken.
Yo, what they
You don't need to punch a girl like you're a police officer, punch her in the face.
Yeah.
Is that based? That's the question. I don't know.
I'm 50-50 on it.
So basically what this was supposed to show is how the police are fine using aggressive policing against like small little white girls, but they are not willing to even prosecute Muslim rape gangs, right? Remember those quotes from last time? It's a really serious episode. You guys should go back and watch it if you didn't. They returned a girl who was raped and, branded by her butthole with Allah, with like Allah's initials or whatever, branded like cattle, sodomized, and even stuck a bat up her vagina, and returned her back to her captors, I believe, and said something like, have fun with her.
Yep.
If only these girls were getting gang raped by Pakistanis, the police might have treated them a little more kindly and returned them back to their captors. I wish the police could get back to doing what they do best, which is nothing helpful. But, it's a problem.
They'll punch the white girl for having a problem, but when it's Henry Nowak bleeding to death, they take the side of the immigrant always, every time. They'll let the white guy bleed out, and they'll punch the white girl in the face.
Yeah, so in Edinburgh, in Scotland, there was a terrorist attack, we'll call it today. That's what the UK police are calling it. And a white man, from what I believe, went around stabbing 5 people. We don't know who those people are.
Allegedly, as far as we know.
Well, it's not our country, so I can just say they did, because he's not going to get in trouble for that one.
We actually don't. I mean, we don't actually know.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know. Like, it's just Scotland. And he went around saying, what was the exact quote here? He said, allegedly, I'm protecting the country from these fucking Muslim bastards raping our young daughters. Check this out.
Protecting the country from these fucking little bastards raping our young daughters, raping our kids. Enough is enough. I have had enough.
And this is the natural reaction, of course, after a certain period of time when you have immigrants in your country raping your young girls. You are going to have a violent response from the whites. That seems to be what's happening now. And it's only going to happen more. I think we've been talking about it, actually, and we said it was a matter of time before white men in the UK would start doing stuff like this. I think this guy's the start of a long chain of men doing the same thing, and I don't know how that's going to go. I wonder if it's going to backfire. I think it probably will. You don't want to be doing what you're accusing the other group of doing, and then you make yourself and all the other ones in your group, for specifically white people, look bad by, stabbing migrants, because that's what they're doing to you. In this case, I guess, but what else are they going to do if their government is super ineffective and they're not, legislating against it? There's really not much you can do.
No, there's not much you can do. And I bring this up because there's scenes like this where Muslims are going around and, like, I don't know if I can believe X accounts and what they say, but Muslims do go around and, like, beat up white people. And this happens in all white countries, okay? And I've been around. It does not happen in, like, South Korea. It does not happen in China. And the kind of crazy part about this is, like, in Australia, in Brisbane, and I'm not going to explain the places where, but the Maori, the individuals who they claim they're black, even though they killed they're also colonizers and killed all the original natives. The Maori guys go around and they do this thing where they like just punch white guys and girls in the face and knock them out for no reason, unprovoked. And in the United States, I've been jumped by blacks. Just said, get that whitey. I ran as fast as with James Klug, actually. He had a run. They were just attacking white people for being white. And it's why I brought a gun, concealed carry, not concealed carry, actually open carry to the Carmelo Anthony thing, because as I warned Georgie, these people will attack you unprovoked.
Yeah.
Okay. Your white skin, it's not jealousy. It's not anything. It is the gimme that mentality. They cannot believe that it's their fault.
It's envy in some way.
Well, it's beyond that. It's like, it is envy, but it is like barbarianism.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, the only reason why we ain't good is because you be here. You're like, well, why is everywhere where you are not good, bro? Hey, cuz, why not everything good? So this was happening in the UK just recently, and you can see why people are getting a little like perturbed I'm also not going to, promote people to go stab people. I'm just saying, as Georgie said, it is the natural reaction.
Yeah, I totally get why it's happening.
Yes, I understand the logic. I'm just not promoting it nor condoning it. It's just, it is what it is.
Come on, guys. What's up? Nara takbir. Allahu Akbar. Nara takbir. Takbir. What are you doing?
So they have young niggas. That's crazy.
Yeah, mobs of people running with knives in the street, chasing whites. It's like,
Look, I'm sorry. I'm seeing pictures in my head. Getting like a Gatling gun in World War I, just like, but like in World War I, not there, obviously.
Yeah, Elijah, I don't think the people in any of our Western countries have the stomach to do what is necessary here. It's like Keir Starmer stepped down, presumptively because of the Belfast riots. It was kind of a reaction to that. The country's very unstable. But, they haven't lost the majority in the parliament, so the Labour Party is going to remain, and it's just going to be a new face, like you said. Nothing's going to happen, and what's the natural progression of this? It keeps getting worse year by year. It is just going to be violence in the streets, and who's going to be there to stop it? You do need a full cultural change, to happen before you can actually do anything in the right direction, I think,
Do we have the I'm tired grandpa sound effect?
Yeah.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad.
Yeah.
Real
stuff. It is a little bit like, let me just say something here. I downloaded Snapchat today for the first time. My girlfriend was like, wanted me to download Snapchat to talk there because I guess Gen Z, that's what I had a Snapchat, and that's, I guess, and I found out all my friends are on there. I was like, you're on here now? And you're like, yes. So apparently people like to talk on Snapchat, or I use Signal mostly. But I just was like, okay, yeah, if you want to chat there, if that's easier to chat, we can just chat there or whatever. That makes sense. And I found out all my friends. It's like kind of cool. And what's kind of cool about that is like, most of my friends are white. We're all very Western. And like, you get on there, you find something's like cool, and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's like culture. It's like the positive side of culture. Like, hey, this is actually fun, and having a good time. And talking to found a bunch of friends that I don't have their phone numbers that like started adding me. And now I'm on social media. I'm like, I use TikTok mostly, though. I use TikTok mostly. And the thing is like, Western culture is really about, and what we've lost and why social media is so big is like, kind of really can't congregate in person anymore. There's no really great place to congregate, so everyone congregates online. I didn't know all my friends were on Snapchat. I didn't know that everyone was like, had these group chats and all this stuff going, and now I'm like in there and I'm having a good time. And it's like, can we get a Snapchat in real life? An IRL Snapchat where you like can just choose the people that you're around and like not be around the others?
I think that's called friendship.
No, that's called society. It's not possible because you go to the mall, it's scary. It's just like scary. Like I went into Lululemon, which I didn't know blacks were even wearing that. Okay, that's sad. I didn't know they were doing it.
We've lost it all.
We lost everything. Yeah. I want to get back to the original Lululemon where they only made them in one size, and they made them that when they stretched too big that they were transparent. And the guy did that. He said no fat woman should be wearing our pants. That's cool. That's based. Okay. And he's still the primary shareholder of the company, I found out. And now they're trying to like get him out, but he's trying to change the company away from this bullshit to get back to being for hot bitches.
Nice.
It is both the greatest and the worst invention for a Christian man trying not to lust, the Lululemon yoga pant. Am I wrong or am I right?
Yeah, that's true. Spandex in general.
Yeah. They call that the ortho cheat code. I'm a holy man, they say, because I post on X a lot. And I post crosses and I tell everyone that they're worse than me and they're all going to hell but me. However.
Which is true.
Which is true. They all are. Yeah. God said something, I forget, in 2 Maccabees or something. He said something about, I might be misquoting the Bible and it might be sacrilegious, but he said something about like, those who post the most will get to heaven, not just have bread, but will have the buttered toast or something like that.
Right.
He said like, the more that you post and virtue signal online, the higher up in heaven the seat you get. You could even get God's seat. You guys know that? You could even get the throne yourself. The more you virtue signal and tell everyone you're better than them, you might act, what if you're God? Because you're better than everyone. Maybe you're perfect and everyone's not. You ever thought about that? Maybe you haven't looked deep enough into it. Perhaps if you pray tonight, someone might show up in your dreams and give you some golden tablets only you can read. You go bury them somewhere. And it allows you to have 10 wives that are underage.
Oh my God.
I'd love to hear about this religion.
Hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
It's like, no, I'm just saying like, you know, in society, my point is that, look, society's always messed up. There's always issues. The problem is now is like, it's just, the only problem is that we're not white. That's it. That's the issue. That's the problem. And I meant this, like, when you see that with the architecture, let me go to the still shot here. Like, how sad is that? Just like centuries old buildings of like the apex of white civilization, enlightenment, Christianity, even paganism involved in that and everything, just the amalgamation of a great civilization. And you have YNs running around. The reason why I know it's genetic, but it's also partly corporate, is like, remember, this kind of lifestyle is also like, not only are we bringing them in, but they're targeted with rap music, gang culture, tracksuits. You know, the Russians got to be punching air right now. You know, the tracksuits used to be like a kind of badass Eastern European thing. Remember that? It's like the Adidas tracksuit.
Yeah.
They
still do that, actually.
No, I know, but it used to just be that.
Yeah,
and you would think someone was Eastern European. Mm-hmm. I got arrested at Mar-a-Lago, I mentioned, for showing up in a tracksuit because they thought I was a YN. You know, I look pretty black. No, but Candace Owens and Charlie, rest in peace, had to get me out of detention because they thought I was, who shows up in a tracksuit? That's a good question. Don't know what I was thinking. Mm-hmm. Why was I in a tracksuit? That's a good question again. Don't know what I was thinking. But I did that, and I've never worn a tracksuit since. My point is you see those kind of hordes of people walking around, and it's just like, can we just get the whole rest of that without that, please? Can we just get that out of here, please? Like, it's just like, it's annoying. It's like, you know what I'd like? I'd like Western culture to be like I think back to the end of Western culture. To me, it, not just because of my age, Western culture died with the end of the hipster era. That's my opinion. American Western culture died. That was like the last real original.
End of the hipster era.
That was the last real original, like shitty ass
like
trend.
2012-ish, 2013.
And like 2014, 15. Yeah, like 2014 is like kind of when it died out. It's like the rise of Sam Hyde. You know, it was like
I think it was probably the day Obama was elected.
No, I said culture, not society. Just culture. It was like we had the last really like the scene kids, and then you had this, like you had like, you know, you have like punk and rock, and you know, we even had rap or whatever, but like it was like you had this white, I should say white culture. You had this like original white thing where it's like all white people were hipsters.
When whites identified with part of their culture.
Yeah.
They were emo or a hipster or, you know, a rave girl.
Raves are just Mexicans now.
Yeah.
Just Mexicans, fat Mexicans. I was at an Excision concert at Exchange LA. I guess it would be called like a rave, but I was at Excision. It's like I guess drum and bass, dubstep. Excision.
Oh.
Exchange LA.
Okay.
It's a venue in downtown Los Angeles.
It was like a Jewish.
No, it's just
event.
like, I think it probably used to be an old like Exchange building, but it's turned into like a club. And it was a concert. And I hadn't gone to a rave. I hadn't gone to a real rave in LA, like a small time rave, maybe since EDC LA. I mean, I've got a big EDM concerts, but like I never went to a small venue.
Mexican or what?
Oh, yeah, and like the people were like rude, and I was like, what happened to plural? Like peace, love, unity, respect, and just like punching people.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. It's like Mexicans, and like some guy grabbed my arm, like shoved me, tried to shove me on the floor, and I punched him in the face, and like it was a big thing, okay? Mm-hmm. But it was like, I was like the music's good, but the people are shit. I'm like, when did the Mexicans, because when I was in high school and I listened to EDM music, that Mexicans were like, oh, you listen to computer music? Computer, make me gay and Mexican. Make these Mexicans gay and horny, computer. Make them gay and horny. They all are, by the way. The browner you get, the darker you get, the more DL you get. That's kind of the truth. Why are all these niggas DL? DLYNs. That's true. True. It's a true thing. It's a weird thing. It's a weird operation. But basically, it was like, you know, I felt really sad, and I hadn't gone to a electronic concert since because I just was like, we kind of like The whole point of this unity was to have the people that were there. When it was all white people at the concert, it was like love, respect. Everyone was happy. Everyone was rolling on like Molly and shit, and they were happy. And this was
I don't
just
know if that's like
angry people.
I don't know if that's white culture though. That's like kind of the.
I didn't say white culture. It was white people.
Yeah, that's like the end of it, right?
I just said it was the end. I said this like I think it was like maybe 20, whatever the last EDCLA was.
The punk era. It was like, the punk era.
You just disagreed while agreeing with me. You're like, no, I think that's not white culture. I think that was the end of it. You're like, I literally just said
I'm kind
it
of
was
agreeing
the
with
end.
you. Yeah, it was the end, I guess. Yeah, that was the last hurrah of the whites. Party rock anthem was the last hurrah
Yeah.
of white people. Guitar MG said it was the hippie era. I assume he means the hippie era was the end.
No, look at the rock era, 80s and stuff. Come on, man. Look at
He's got a point.
the
Honestly.
90s, got the Depeche Mode, Nirvana and stuff like
But as
we
far
had
as
it.
culture, it's like everything after that was counterculture. Basically, until the end, it was just counterculture. So rock and all that stuff was counterculture to what was the culture at the time. So I guess that's kind of accurate, actually. It was the hippie era that was kind of the end, and then everything else was counter to everything before that.
We got 2 super chats here. $5 from Alan Alps said, turns out listening to Van Halen and doing coke for 40 years was probably not a good idea. Bob Dylan sucked too. And he also said $2 said Nirvana grunge was gay too. Okay. Okay. Great.
Real.
Thank you. That's
I
fantastic.
never got into Nirvana. I don't know about you.
No.
Were you a Nirvana guy?
No, I grew up in a Christian cult.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't know what Nirvana was.
Real. I was kind of like that. I grew up Lutheran.
No, I grew up in a cult.
Really?
Yeah. Looking back at it, it is.
It was a cult?
I literally told you that I went to their Bible school, and I won't say his first. I'll say his first name, not his last name. I don't want to dox him, but his name was Jason. I told you that, like, if you masturbated, not to pornography, but if you just like spilt your seed, we won't go into. We all know what that is, but like you could be in disciplinary action if you didn't come talk to him. And I remember this guy almost killed himself because he confessed that he had
Is this like
jerked his joint.
Is this when you were older?
Yeah, when I was like 18, 19.
So this was like the college kind of thing. It was yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I
This is
remember
when you went away.
Yes.
Okay.
It was like the military.
Right.
That's when I realized it was a cult when I went there, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a cult. This is weird." I actually knew it was a cult when we stood on the edge of our house and waited for the world to end in the year 2000, and I thought the world was going to end.
2012?
No, the world was going to end in the year 2000. That's when I look back and I'm like, oh. Ever since then, I've never trusted authority, and I've had trouble following God because I was told that the world was going to end in the year 2000.
2012 was mine like that. Remember when it was going to end in 2012? There was
I
a whole
remember
movie
that.
about it. They made a movie for the event,
Yeah.
and then it didn't happen.
I love the Jews.
Yeah.
Remember when there's that really beautiful Swedish, like,
It was 10
Midsummer's Eve?
years of conspiracy theories to promote a movie. Genius.
Remember also,
They did
like,
it again.
remember when that Jewish director from A24 Studios that made Backrooms took that Midsummer Eve, they took the Swedish celebratory culture festival and made it about death and murdering whites and scared people in the white
movie
culture,
was
the
called
Jewish guy.
Midsummer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they do a good job at that. Remember when they invented the Holocaust?
Yeah, that was crazy.
I hate the Holocaust. I hate all the
It's crazy that it's
documentaries.
all made up, you know?
Well, I
the whole
hate-
thing. It was fabricated.
Let's
Let's get into it.
The worst documentary I saw was The Boy in Striped Pajamas that they show you in school when you're like 10.
I remember being a kid and avoiding that on purpose. I was like, I don't want to go see that. And I think I was questioned, like, why? And I'm like, well, something about it seems fishy to me. It's like, why are they trying to make me feel so sympathetic towards this group of people? It's like, what about the Japanese internment camps and the gulags? I was thinking that when I was a kid. I was like, this doesn't seem very fair. I haven't seen a movie about the gulags yet. Mom, what is that about?
You know,
She's like, go to your room.
if you ever want to fix things, DM your average ortho bro on X. He can fix anything
Yeah.
except for his pride.
Yeah, they'll talk about Catholics and
Yeah, Catholics are the real problem in the country.
they'll reunite the church.
Catholics are the real problem. Actually,
so true, actually.
Actually, even better, talk to the Catholic bros on. I'm just fucking around with the ortho bros. Talk to the talk to the Catholics as well, and they'll tell you that all we need to do is just become a Catholic nation, and all of our problems will be fixed. let's go look at Catholic nations like the Philippines. How are they doing? Check out the southern controlled islands that are all Muslim and they can't.
Is Catholicism the cause of all the problems?
No. It was supposed to fix it. It was supposed to fix it.
Interesting.
It was supposed to fix it. Nikki said here,
I
if
think
everyone
there's a global
becomes
Catholic.
Nikki said if
conspiracy.
everybody becomes Christian, that's what we have to do. And I go, yeah, everyone's going to become Christian one day. It's really going to happen. I don't think we're going in that direction. I think we're going in a kind of opposite direction.
Yeah.
You're gonna hate to buy a gun, little white boy. You're gonna have to get.
I mean, it'd be nice if he was right. You know, if
it's
everyone,
idealistic.
Yeah, it is idealistic.
I'm not making fun of faith. I'm very, very, very much into it. I'm making fun of online people who find a LARP, like a solution that works in their microcosm community, and instead of like adding to the conversation and trying to genuinely, this is what you sit on the stomach for. If people were to really think and congregate and tell you what it is we need to do, they can't accept it or they won't publicly acknowledge it, so they find a cop-out, right? And everyone should become Orthodox, but not everyone will. And also on top of that, that's not necessarily going to... It's like recovery. It's like you could become Orthodox, but for the rest of your life, you're going to need to work on your character. You're going to need to work on your mistakes. You're going to need to work on your problems with sin. You're going to keep your eyes on Christ. And so it's like, you can't just say become Orthodox. You're going to say follow Jesus Christ. And I would admit that that is the solution. It's
We'll probably go more towards like a general Christian movement.
An ecumenical, even though the Orthodox are not into that.
That's what happened with National Socialism. Like, I recall Hitler had mentioned that there were Christian nationalist groups that the NSDAP were kind of opposing for power, and they were all fighting each other. And the Christian nationalists, they came from Protestant sects. So there, as far as I know, there wasn't a Catholic or Orthodox like sect of this. But regardless, eventually all these people ended up falling in line with the National Socialists because the National Socialists weren't constrained by, Christian moral values and things like that. That's why people like, Richard Spencer, Chad Champion, they do have some good points on that stuff, where we're headed, where we're going. And it's, in some ways it's more realistic to human nature, like expecting, violence, like we just saw in the UK, white men starting to stand up and fight back in the only way they know how, it is where we're headed, and we'll see. But what's this you got?
Okay, well, there's an individual in the UK about these problems. The people are actually trying to solve the problems in the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom has very big problems. We have problems everywhere, all over the country. And basically, Northwest Leicestershire, I think is Leicestershire. I don't know how to say it.
We're American.
Andrew Bridgen, former MP, said these two things. Listen.
Prime ministers come and go now in the UK like faster than London buses. And the reason is because the public are waking up to the fact that, I'm afraid, in the West, our leaders are selected by the global elite. They're not elected. And they promise everything to get into power, and then they do exactly the opposite when they're in power. So they're going to become very unpopular very quickly. That puts pressure on their backbench MPs, who realise they're becoming very unpopular and they're going to lose their seats, lose their jobs at the next election. And then they put pressure on the leadership. And that's why our governments keep collapsing. We need to get back to servant politics. We need to get back to people serving not the party, but the people who elect.
All right, so he mentions that, and here's what he said next, posted by RT. Listen to this.
Prime ministers of different so-called political hues, of the left and the right, they've all declared their ambition or their aim that they were definitely going to smash the people trafficking gangs that are bringing these illegal migrants across the channel. All I'll say is that in more than 5 years, the only gang that they've smashed was actually smuggling migrants back to France who are disillusioned from the UK. And I think that tells you all you need to know about whoever's in government in the UK. They're not.
Yeah, he mentioned this. Basically, whoever in government in the UK, they're not going to stop these illegal immigrants crossing the channel. And I want to play one little video here. They find this stuff every day. people being smuggled, and instead of sending them back, they just let them into the country. Here's 12 Afghan migrants found being smuggled, and there's really no consequences. Watch.
Everyone okay? Anyone speak English? Little? What language do you speak? Afghan. Farsi. Punjabi? Dari. Pashto. Anyone speak Dari or Pashto? Okay, we find it. Or Punjabi. Little, no Punjabi. Afghani Punjabi.
Traitors.
Lorry stopped, drivers detained with 12.
Yeah, it's just like accepting money to sell out your country is ridiculous. And we'll leave it at that. And so, things aren't going to change. We'll just leave it there. It's not going to change. But we're going to keep tracking the madness. We're going to be talking a little bit about some Iran information going on with Trump. We got this story. Let's get into Iran. Let's go. All right. According to the International Policy Summit, just occurred, it looks like a British-born Jewish Zionist activist named Melanie Phillips told that we need to actually end negotiations with Iran. And, maybe we should try listening to the Jews on our foreign policy and culture. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not going to be so bad, said white people in 1955. Maybe we should do this. What could go wrong?
Iran is not strong, but America's many powerful weapons count for absolutely nothing if it won't use them. If America won't commit itself to take the pain involved in fighting for its way of life, then Iran wins. And America won't defend itself properly because it does not understand that when it has an enemy, as in the Iranian regime, that believes God is instructing it to destroy America and the Jews, any negotiation is viewed by them as weakness and a way to manipulate America into surrender. To defeat Iran, America needs to end all negotiation and fight through blockades or kinetic war or boots on the ground wherever necessary. Iran is
All right,
not...
notice what this event is sponsored by, the JNS. It stands for Jerusalem News Syndicate, by the way. That didn't sound like an American accent, by the way.
No, it's UK.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I love how they don't talk about the people. They talk about our weapons. Mm-hmm. We need to defend ourselves. Against what? Against what? What does using our weapons defend us against? Who's us? How does that benefit me? I think Americans are asking, how does bombing brown people benefit me? And also, if we want to deal with Muslims, let's deal with the Muslims in our countries. I'm not getting mugged by the Iranian regime. I'm being jumped by a group of Allahu Akbars, Sneeko fans, running through the streets. Who benefits from that? Globalists, Sneeko, most streamers on Kick. It's just kind of ridiculous at this point. And I'm not entirely sure what the point of that is, but I think we're all really tired. And it's just funny that that's just stated, right? That we need to use our weapons. Fox News, Trey Yingst, I know him as well back in the day. He's now a reporter in the Middle East conflict.
He's everywhere now. Fox posts him every day.
Like Bill Maloogian, I was friends with Bill Maloogian back in LA when he got his first job at Fox 11. And he did a special with me on 2018, and we ended up becoming friends. And now he's like the #1 reporter for Fox. Weirdo that happens.
Yeah.
I noticed none of these people criticized Israel. But I know they're based. I know that they know what's going on. Smarter than me. Smarter than I am. It's going to take a lot for us to fight back and to build infrastructure to fight against these people, because they do control the media. They control our politicians. They control our military industrial complex. And like the guys who sold out for 64,000 pounds to bring in the Afghans, a lot of people are not serving Jews, but they're serving Jewish monetary system, right? The Bible always said, they always say, people always misquote the Bible, like pride cometh before the fall. And it doesn't say that in the Bible. They also say money is the root of all evil. Doesn't say that in the Bible. I think it's haughtiness. I think like haughtiness is what comes before the fall. Actually, the Bible says being haughty, like thinking you're better. You're better than everybody else. But also, it says the love of money. If the English translation I know directly the best is the root of all kinds of evil, amplified direct translation there. And the reason why it says that is because the love of money. When you love money more than the truth, when you love money more than people, when you love money more than God, when you love money more than your country and your nation, lots of evil springs forth. And it doesn't mean that just because somebody loved money, they directly did evil. But it means that your love of money will bring in 12 Afghans who will rape and murder. And so now rape and murder is a problem because people love money. And their love of money to smuggle the people gives bad people power, and those governments can do bad things. Well, Trump apparently is listening to the JNS, International Policy Summit. Listen to this.
I just spoke with President Trump for more than 20 minutes, and he gave some new insight and reaction about the ongoing talks that are taking place in Switzerland and the threats coming from the Iranian regime. President Trump telling Fox News that the U.S. may take over the strait in the future if they have to and collect tolls. The president described this as the United States being the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East. And the president said ultimately that would involve the U.S. taking 20% of the oil that passes through the strait. Remember, this comes in reaction to the Iranians saying they will close the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iranian officials overnight and said, you close it and you won't have a country. He went on to tell these officials, you won't even make it back to your effing country. Now, earlier today, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian said this about Iranian enrichment of uranium. The president also reacting to that. Take a listen.
We will not give up our right to enrichment, and they, too, will be forced to accept it. You all know what the so-called President of the United States was saying. He had made a complete 100-degree turn. He was saying that Iran must surrender unconditionally. Iran has no right to do this, it has no right to do that.
President Trump, during our call, responded directly to those comments by Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. President Trump told Fox News he better watch his mouth, he better shape up, or we'll take over the rest of the country. And so clearly the president reacting directly to these comments from Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian. And also President Trump talked about the broader memorandum of understanding, indicating this is just a ceasefire extension. This is not the final deal with the Iranian regime. And the president says he holds the cards and maintains a variety of options if the Iranians don't make these serious commitments at the negotiating table. He said, I have a 60-day option and I can do whatever I want after that option. So again, President Trump leaving a variety of considerations on the table and says that the United States could become the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and collect tolls itself while taking oil. Around 20%, the president says.
Yeah. So the peace talks start, and Trump immediately on I think it's the second day or third day or something. It's the first in-person negotiations with him involved, and he's saying, if you close the strait, we are going to take over, and you're not going to be able to have a country, and you might not even make it home safe. And then we have a follow-up video to this, actually, where J.D. Vance is running damage control for him, frankly. And he's saying, oh, well, Trump is just doing what he does. He's art of the deal. He's just, correcting the record, blah, 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 because Iranians lied. Check this out.
What we told the Iranians yesterday is When you guys engage in what us millennials might call trash talk,
He's a
you
millennial,
can't
and I
expect the
take back-
President of the
I
United
guess.
States
We're very
not
old.
to respond and not to correct the record.
Ancient.
So when they say things that aren't true, the President is going to respond to it. I'm going to respond to it. Americans are going to respond to it. When they make threats that aren't rooted in reality, they have to accept that the President of the United States is actually going to set the record straight. That's all that happened. So yes, there was a little bit of threatening, there was a little bit of whining, but at the end of the day, the talk.
A little bit of Strait of Hormuz.
It sounds like we're still requiring unconditional surrender, Elijah. I mean, to what end are these peace deals? It sounds like it's just the same old shit. We're not making any concessions at all, actually. What do you think?
Well, I think what we realize is this clip here kind of tells me what I think that we're thinking, and I'll explain after this. Listen.
What we're trying to do is to say, first of all, Israel and every other nation in the region has the right of self-defense, but we want to make sure that everybody has that right of self-defense in the background where we're talking about how to de-escalate these conflicts rather than spiraling out of control. Sometimes what will happen is that if the conflict spirals out of control, that's worse for everybody's self-defense and worse for everybody's security. What we're trying to do is to say, first of all, Israel and every other nation in the region.
I think it's just like every other nation has the right to self-defense. It's saying like, dude, it's like it was not popular in the United States. All the polls, I think, were cooked. It was based on age. Older people liked it because they like everything that Trump does. Trump was right. He can kill someone in the middle of Manhattan on 5th Street and he would still have the same supporters. And I think it was costly. It was costed. Dude, imagine like your kid died in this Iran conflict.
Right.
Such a sad moment for the Gold Star families. Shout out to the Gold Star families. You should be happy your kids died, actually. That's what they're telling you. Because people in Tel Aviv can gay people can have orgies now safely. Because your kid died.
Thank God.
Your kid died so that they could have anal sex with each other. And I'm just going to say, if you're not happy about that, you're not a patriot. It's basically what they're telling them. What did it do for our country? I don't know. It's like, it was for Israel. And they're saying like, look, just let's not, it's a regional conflict. If the countries feel threatened, then let them go to war. But it's not our war. And I know that Israel won't go to war directly with Iran because they can't. It's not a possibility. They don't have the military numbers. They don't have the armament. And quite frankly, consider their Patriot defense system is, built almost entirely on American intelligence, minus maybe a few different, moving moments. But the actual battery rams are, it's kind of sad. And, I have a friend named Will, shout out Will, who's been involved in politics for a long time. His family has been around. And, I noticed that one thing I noticed is that like all families that have been around politics, the older members of the family kind of institutionalized, sort of about party lines, about thinking that we're still going to solve this by getting Republicans into office. And the young people realize like we have an Israel problem and we have an infiltration in our government. And it's like, we can bomb Iran all we want, but the fact that our, Thomas Massie, a patriot who really cares about the nation, can get outvoted. Charlie Kirk's favorite Congress member, by the way. It kind of shows you with Charlie being killed and Massie getting taken out, MGT getting taken out. And then you have people like Lauren Boebert who are talking about, why is everyone so horny here? It's like, Lauren, weren't you getting felt up in a movie theater? I mean, who wouldn't with Lauren Boebert? Sorry, baby. But who wouldn't?
Real.
Lauren Boebert, they call her. Met her in person, can say, I put my arm around her, never washed my hand. I actually made sure I put my hand on my children before I washed it. Remember that quote? Netanyahu from...
I did not wash my hand.
Did not wash my hands until I touched the heads of my children after I touched Netanyahu.
It was
called
that?
Booberfied. That was Randy Fine.
Randy Fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic.
Interesting.
Well...
Yeah, I don't want to talk more about this topic.
No, I don't either.
I don't want to. Oh, let's talk about something different here. It's so boring. Boring! Okay, so here's some culture stuff to go on here. You guys remember this guy? This is an old story that was made big by libs of TikTok. And the news cycle's bad, and people are bored when like libs of TikTok is like bringing up like stories from years ago. But like, look at that. Look at that.
I showed Nikki this photo. I'm like, hey man, I got this friend and he's he's in need of employment. I'm wondering if maybe he could come and write for us. I showed him this picture and he was not happy. Not happy at all.
You know, let's talk about.
So what this person do? I think it's in the caption.
Yeah, but let's talk about here before we read this, because I just want to explain this to you. This is why a culture must respect aesthetics, must push for health, must push for
That's true.
physical health. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm not saying that everybody who looks like this is going to become a transgender child molester, but, you know, sexual abusers, sexually confused people come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. But I do believe, that's why we talked about on the show, it is Pride Month still. I don't believe in the LGBTQ thing. Like, if we really want to put sex into two categories, there is just sex, which is a man and a woman. And if you are a Christian, which I'd say we'll put that as the highest authority here, that the ordained sexual intercourse is between a man and a woman in marriage. And everything else is either fornication or perversion. It's pretty much all it is.
Yeah.
And humans can be very perverted. Okay? They just can, right? They really can. And everybody knows in their thoughts, like everyone's had weird dreams or weird thoughts, not about LGBTQ stuff, but just like weird things where you get murdered, right? No, you get murdered or things happen. Well, it's not weird to like, you know, have weird thoughts or to get a little fat or whatever. But what you can tell is like sometimes when like a lot of weird thoughts come into your head, like suicide, or if you're, a lot of times where weird fetishes develop from, it's like from what? It's from like trauma. It's from pain. It's from negative experiences. And what's one of the best things you can do? Let's say if you're having suicidal thoughts, to people out there, I'm not having those. Apparently someone thought I was in the world at one point, but I don't have suicidal thoughts. I've never really been very suicidal, but I have worked with a lot of people that are growing up, and they do. And you find out what? They're not taking care of themselves. They're not exercising. They're living in despair. And depression's real, but they kind of letting the course of nature take them over and control them. And humans need to be careful because we're all capable of all evil, okay? Whether to ourselves or to others. And which is why you have to take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. Because when you, like, that's why I said, it doesn't mean because you look like this, you're going to do bad things. But when your confidence is low, your health is bad, and your insecurities then are high, and your mental health isn't doing well, you make yourself susceptible.
Psychosis.
You make yourself susceptible towards perverted influence, whether that's to harm yourself, others, both physically, sexually, or even psychologically to the point to suicide. And so when you have a society where you tell people that love is love, you have body positivity, you can't tell anyone anything, we need to have a complete and total stop to all things until we can find out how to nationalize Red Tide and get this into the hands of every person in America. Okay? Because what I was saying is like people like this, that's why you go, why do the polycules look weird? You know, why do the furries are fat and dysgenic? It's like, because when you are messed up and you can't integrate into normal functioning society, people don't love you, people don't like you, you're rejected. That's when you get into the weird perverted stuff.
Yeah, look at an
the furry community.
Rally.
Yeah, they all look weird.
Any rally, they're all ugly, and I think it is like a level of psychosis. If you're
put yourself on the screen there,
if you're ugly for your whole life and you don't really fit in, and I think at some point, kind of like, I guess I would use like a psychedelic trip in a way, and what happens with psychedelic trips is people will have this overwhelming experience and then they kind of just have to let go, and that's called ego death. Well, I think they kind of have to do something like that too. If you live your whole life being ugly, at some point you're going to want to look in the mirror and believe that you are not ugly. So how do you do that? You fall into some group that tells you you're beautiful and special and you could be a woman and you could change your life and be someone different. And you don't actually have to do anything aesthetically to change. It's all about what you say and how you portray yourself and what clothes you wear. And it's all the other stuff is superficial, which isn't true and super damaging. And I think all these people, they do have a level of psychosis, just a total ignorance of reality. And, you really can't save them, unfortunately.
But just like I say with like blacks, it's like not all blacks are bad, but you don't, if you see a group of YNs, you might go to the other side. Don't let your kids around people like this.
Right.
You know? And I'm going to tell you, like, you can tell if someone's not healthy, their mind probably isn't. I'm not on Reddit True Tide right now, but I promote it deeply because nothing tastes as good as skinny feels.
Yeah.
And I got a little bit chubby recently. I'm down 21 pounds in 2 months, which is pretty good. And I'm going to be going back down again. I'm going to hop back on Reddit actually and shred. I'll never forget that just a little dossier reference. It's like, he's stacked up on drugs. He's on finasteride and minoxidil and retatrutide, like peptides and hair loss medication. Guilty. But like medication is actually good when it's used appropriately. And
this person needs a lot of it.
Well, what I was gonna say, but these people, rather than getting on this person, let me go back to that. This person needs. Here's the stack, guys. Here's the stack I'm going to recommend.
Yeah.
Here's the stack.
Get
okay?
Clav on the phone, please.
Here's the stack. Oral minoxidil, 5 milligrams, not 1, 5. Take the whole pill, okay? Oral minoxidil, keeps.com. Sign up today.
Straight jacket.
Yeah. Minoxidil. Finasteride. Minoxidil will grow back your hair. Finasteride will stop you from losing it. Stops the DHT. You can do ditasteride, whatever you want. 1 milligram per day. Boom. One $10,000 trip, all inclusive, to Istanbul. Okay? A lot of back hair, not a lot of front. I'd also like to get this person on a bed, strapped down with a lethal injection first. I'm just kidding. No, but you'll see why. No lethal injections. Probably get on some TRT, get off the HRT. 1 ml a day, 1 ml a week, maybe 0.9 a week. Retatrutide, get a 10 milligram bottle, constitute it with 1 ml of water. Specifically, it has to be their water, distilled. There has to be their medical water.
Bacteriostatic.
Yeah, it's bacteriostatic, but it depends on what they really want to call it. But you got to get the medical grade bacteriostatic water. It's got to be purified.
I think this person needs to be.
And then they need about. Well, I'm saying they need
down in a dog shelter or something. Like I don't.
They need the full mill.
What's the medicine for putting dogs down? What is that? Let's get.
You didn't catch my lethal injection.
10
and then
grams of that one, please.
10. Yeah. Get this person a lethal dose of ketamine.
We need elephant-sized dosage.
No, some exercise and a Bible. Okay, that's kind of what I recommend here. But for most guys, I recommend you get on a stack of TRT, retatrutide, exercise 3 times a week, finasteride, minoxidil, and then buy Nutrafol. It's a vitamin to help you with everything else. And if you can't focus, maybe go on and off something like Vyvanse. Don't use Adderall. It's very not a good thing. I used to use it as a kid. I haven't used it as an adult extensively. But that stuff is tweaks you out. And also, do you know, by the way, Adderall went off the shelf about a month ago? Do you remember that? It was like a big thing. The makers of the Adderall XR.
Was it just like not in stock or what?
No, something really weird happened actually. It's a total side note, but it is the drug companies are doing something, and I don't know if they're trying to prevent a lot. Like they know something's bad about Adderall, but it went off the shelf. You couldn't find it anywhere, and this was on the news. I don't know who. I know which company produces the primary branded, not generic Adderall XR, but it was gone for a month. It came back. I follow medical news. It came back. I think a few weeks ago. Could have been less or more. And there's this controversy in the medical community where I used to work in pharmaceuticals, and they're using the pill counters. These are capsules. We're using the pill counters, and they're so much lighter now. The 20 minute, like all the capsules, that the pill counter can't detect them. They're getting bad counts. And they're lighter than they've ever been. They look different. And now, if you go get a company drug test, the way things work, if you've ever done a drug test, but you're on medication, let's say you're on medical marijuana, you're on Adderall, maybe you're on opiates for, surgery, you go get tested for drugs, and this is very common, and you provide your, it'll come back, it's called like a false positive. It'll say, oh, you're, negative for amphetamines, or you're negative for opiates. And you have a chance to call. You alert the company, and you give them the phone number to your pharmacy. They call the pharmacy. You just tell them what you have. They talk to the pharmacist, find out if you have an active prescription or did recently, and then it'll come back negative because, well, you can't say someone's positive for an illegal drug if it's legal, right? It's just kind of how it works. And it has to be levels, by the way, that match your prescription. So you can't have like 10,000 points of like Adderall. It's like, well, yeah, you're fucked up. So you got to like be under what your prescription states. The drug testing companies in America put out an issue that's happening where their clients are alerting them that they're on Adderall, so they might show up for amphetamines because it is an amphetamine salt. And they've showed up, false positive every time for their, this is military, government, whatever. Those that are on active Adderall that came back are not showing positive for amphetamines.
So they've changed the formula.
Well, we don't know. They haven't said anything, and we don't know why, and we don't know what's happening. But methinks, if I had to put my finger on it, that there's some big lawsuits coming because Adderall is like legal meth. And it tweaks you out, makes your jaw move. You ever done it? Like it spikes your cortisol. It can put you into psychosis. It can make you manic. And like the SSRIs, I highly tell people. And wait, here's my favorite thing. I was reading about it the other day, and I was kind of just looking at like the new Adderall and like what it's about. And I love how it's like recommended for children 6 and older. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I was on that shit. Like I think I was like 10 years old or something. I was 10, maybe younger.
Yeah, it's like, geez, man.
Maybe 11.
Yeah.
It was 10 or 11. Yeah.
By the way, though, if you go on TRT, tell you, go on gonadotropin as well. Ask your doctor for that because that keeps your balls big, keeps your natural sperm flowing so you can still like have children, and it keeps your testes from shrinking. So you do TRT with GRH. And I know it all sounds crazy to people, but it's like once you get over the fear of needles, you realize, and this is why people say, why are you preaching that? There is already a war going on against you. Like your testosterone is lower than it should be. Your body is lower than it should be. And if you get any side effects from TRT, like back knee or chest knee, you can just take doxycycline, like antibiotics. It goes away. You're in a cyberpunk war for your biology, and you're going to have to use, like, if you just are a human being in America, you're going to get kind of fat. You're going to be low energy. Your sex drive and libido aren't going to be correct. And a lot of guys are doing the wrong thing, which is they're just using like Blue Chew or Viagra or Cialis. They're basically tadalafil, sildenafil, which can be helpful. I mean, if you're going on a honeymoon or something like that, maybe you want to have intercourse a lot of times and you want to, do something, or maybe you just want to use it to pump at the gym or whatever, that's fine. But try to use more like basic, use peptides, use like natural hormone replacement, eat healthy food above all else. But before you get on TRT, try to get your levels up naturally. Oysters, sunlight, exercise. But if you're busy and you keep saying you're going to do natural ways, but you don't, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm a big promoter of that stuff. I recently just got back on TRT. I was off of it for a while, just because you have to cycle it. And then I haven't started retatrutide because I want to just cut weight naturally by just, dieting and exercising. And I completely lost my hair, like full receding hairline, and it grew back with Nutrafol, finasteride, and minoxidil over like a year. So cheap too. It's a couple $100 and, save yourself that. That being said, after we fix America, well, people need to know the real facts here. Libs of TikTok said, breaking, New Hampshire's first transgender elected representative, Stacey Lutton.
Stacey. We love Stacey.
I love a D there in parentheses because he used to have one. Sentenced to 33 years in prison for the sexual exploitation of children. I think that's what, I don't want to get into the details, but wow, the first transgender person.
Color me shocked.
Yeah.
Color me shocked.
Rainbow color me shocked.
Well, I'm very off center on that. Look at that.
Yeah, and my head's cut off. I'm like Anne Boleyn.
Unbelievable.
Cut me. I'm circumcised. They circumcised the wrong head.
Yeah, well, color me shocked. I mean, I can't believe it. Look at that person. That person does not look the type to, what is it? Child porn? Or like it was child exploitation, right? Does that just mean child porn? What is that?
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But I will say this, wait, real true statement too. Real true statement too. This is actually a really good statement from Third Coast Texas Toast before I read a couple super chats. He said, most dudes wouldn't need Blue Chew if they had a hotter girlfriend. And I'm going to say that. Yeah, it's like, guys like, dude, I got to perform better. And it's like, you just don't really find your girl attractive. She's a little too fat.
It's true.
If you find your girlfriend attractive, if this is actually a catch-22.
It was child porn.
If your friends don't find your girlfriend attractive, you're not at your ultimate sexual performance. Or wife, we'll say we'll be better here, but your girl, you're not fornicating. We know none of you do that. But I mean, genuinely speaking, like you will find out in life that a lot of the issues we have with health and things that are going on, including health issues, hair loss or whatever, some of it's genetic. But, you know, you might find out that you're losing your hair because you're stressed and you don't manage your life well. You might find out your testosterone's lower because you're eating
married
bad
to like
food.
a nagging bitch. Are you going to be attracted to her after a certain point? I don't know. Look at that face. I wasn't even thinking of that actually. But yeah, every man out there that's been married a long time to a nagging woman, I don't think the problem is your dick doesn't work, you know. Maybe that's the case for some of them, but
Wow, I didn't know men go through that. That's deep. I'll write that down. I'm gonna write a book about that. I just learned that tonight. Man,
my bad, chat. This is my fault.
I thought that marriages only end because because you're on retatrutide, finasteride, TRT, and minoxidil, and can't see your kids because God forbid you regrow your hair.
Yeah, my bad, chat.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow, learning about that tonight. A couple super chats here I want to read. We have Alan Alps back in for $5. Said, people always talk about small hats, but is our empathy a serious problem? Only white people try to save trees, for example. It's almost pathological altruism. That is true.
That's a good point, actually.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, white people think
we do have pathological altruism. That's true. We do. We're whites. That's unique to us and our identity. I would say, but it's also IQ. You know, like Japanese have that too. I don't know if Chinese do. I'm sure they do. You know, their societies are pretty nice and they care about each other and
they
things
think about
like
nature.
that.
Like before communism, they were pretty big on nature.
Parks. Yeah, Japan is still like that.
Well, China's come back with that with natural beauty. They did do this
during Mao's.
They're getting back.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Alps also at $10. Thanks for all the super chats tonight, Alan. I really appreciate that. Said, is abortion assisted suicide, LGBTQ propaganda, trans surgery simply a depopulation program against European people generally? Is that too conspiracy Alex Jones level? Listen, I don't know if it's just depopulation or deconstruction, right? That's a big difference. Like deconstruction will lead to depopulation. But I think that it's not causation. It's just an eventual sequence of events. It's like when you don't have a clear path of life, the reason why everyone's mentally ill today, you ever meet everyone, they're all mentally ill, like everybody's, and I mean this genuinely. I want to bring up a point actually about that, a new thing that I learned from, who's the CIA guy who like lives in Russia now?
John,
Kiriakou. Kiriakou, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might bring someone on to talk about this. I actually just, I think this is what I just went through, and I'm not going to explain my experience, but it was really enlightening. He had this psychologist on, and you know, I've caught myself with all the things that I have experienced recently. I've found myself telling people like, man, like I'm just getting out of it. I feel like I have PTSD, and a lot of people, because he went through a really serious divorce. This is what he's talking about. John Kiriakou. You know, he went through a really bitter divorce like 5 years ago, which was also, I guess, kind of exploited by the government and different people. And he brought in a psychologist because he said he was wondering, like he was having like mental problems that felt like, because he had PTSD from like real field work, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't like to make light of PTSD. I hate when people say that, like, bro, I have PTSD from that. But like, let's say from PTSD is more considered like physical trauma, right? Physical that released to psychological. It's why our servicemen kill themselves so much. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to relate this to pathways to life. You know, it's not just PTSD. I'm not going to diagnose this why servicemen kill themselves. It also oftentimes is a lack of purpose, because a lot of people enter the military kind of lost, wayward, and they find camaraderie. You don't have to think for yourself. You kind of know where you need to be at what time. Mm-hmm. And you kind of just learn to like be a part of a unit. And especially if you're deployed, you know, you have missions and you have responsibilities and you have risk. And when you leave the military, you find that people aren't just like, yay, thank you so much. You come into a world that looks down on masculinity. You come from a world that praises it. If you were deployed, you're not, maybe not just like here, but domestically, it's kind of pussified. But, you know, you have purpose. You always hear soldiers say, like, my only goal was to keep myself alive and those around me, you know, and to complete my mission. Mm-hmm. And you come here and people are like, I'm sorry, I know you served the country, but there's this fat black woman that went to a French music festival that stabbed someone with a syringe, and she's going to take your job because you are a white male and you're misogynistic. And it's very confusing, because not only is it confusing, but you also fought for this. You sacrificed for this. And so you pair a purposeless, a pathless life. You know, you could rank up, you could move up, you could know what to do to get up. And now you're like, how do you fight DEI? It's not really a war. It's like, what do I do? You have that, plus you have trauma, post-traumatic stress if you were deployed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the problem is you can't get out, of the military. Like if you are having serious mental problems, like there's almost nothing you can do to leave the military. You're kind of stuck there. And if your chain of command sucks and you're going through something, your parents died or something, my division officer killed himself actually. And, I think it was partly because, he had dealt with like a loss or like a girlfriend, something happened. And then, he's required obviously to keep going to work and things like that. And, the chain of command was not very helpful to him. And it's very frowned upon in the military to have mental health problems in general. If you talk about it with your command or your peers, they kind of make fun of you. And they see it as just you're skipping work, right? To go and get like therapists or whatever. And it's very common. It's extremely common. Like I'd say probably at least a tenth of every division is probably going through something like that. And there's a lot of suicide. I think the rate of suicide in the military is double, but of what the civilian population is. But not to get too far off the question.
Well,
the question is, just to remind you real quick, the question
is that depopulation?
Is depopulation, is LGBT, abortion, assisted suicide, trans
yeah, but I'm answering this from what he said.
Is it a conspiracy to depopulate European people?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But he said this is very important. He said, as someone who had dealt with this has to do with pathways to life in natural citizenship. So like in the government, he had these crazy experiences overseas as in the CIA, people getting killed and tortured. And he dealt with this PTSD. When he went through his bitter divorce, he said, and I haven't watched it, but he you can tell that like, it looks like a man talking about war. Like even this hardened man talks about his divorce. Like he uses words. He's like, it was just brutal. Like the most like savage experience. And he goes, and like it messed me up in ways that felt like I had PTSD, but it was just a relational thing. It's a civilian life, civil matter. And the psychologist brought up something that they said that they're developing or like discovering is this new concept. Look it up, guys. I've actually sent it to a few people who have gone through this. I could realize I got their names in my head. It's called moral injury. Okay, moral injury. And what happens is when you go through something in your life, either that you've done or that you do to you that breaks your moral code, as in breaks what you thought you were capable of doing, or happens to you PR-wise publicly. It's kind of like why teenagers like will kill themselves, right? When like, for instance, like their nudes get leaked in junior high and they kill themselves. That's a moral injury. It's like they are developing their sexuality. They're very self-conscious. They send their first, dick pic or tit pic to somebody. It gets leaked all over Snapchat. Everyone comes in, starts making fun of them. And all of a sudden, they've never even had their sexuality. Now it's public. Everyone knows about it. They're making fun of them, and their privacy has been diminished. And it breaks them, and their parents dismiss it, like, oh, you'll get over it, or let's transfer you schools. But then they kill themselves. It's a very common thing with this sex blackmail stuff with teenagers. Very, very bad. And that's called a moral injury because it's something that breaks your worldview. And the reason why it's dangerous, this is the key part, the reason why it's dangerous is because your entire vision for life, your security of what, like, oh, well, I'll get a degree. And I'm using young people because, you're in junior high. It's like, I'll go to high school and then I'll go to college. I'll get a degree and I'll get married. We all know we're adults. We know that's not how life works. But when you're in junior high, why the suicide rates are so high for the sex blackmail and stuff and revenge porn stuff is because what it does is it goes, all of a sudden, you're no longer safe and you're exposed. And the idea of moving forward no longer makes sense because you thought of that in terms of privacy and personal protection, who you are. You've now been exposed. And I think what those things you mentioned are, those things you mentioned that they do, those are moral injuries that happen to people that destroy, not just for them, but also destroys young people because what happens is like, if you didn't have abortion, And it's like, well, you get pregnant. Well, what do you just do? Now you got to get married to the person you got pregnant, and you got to get married, and now you have no divorce, and you don't have rights. And so now he's just got to, it's his responsibility. He's got to protect you. Now you have a family, and you raise that family, and might as well have some more kids. And you have this life that even if you make mistakes, there's only kind of really one pathway to life. But now we're telling kids, we're telling young people, it's not just revenge porn. You can be anything. You can be a boy, you can be a girl, you can cut your penis off. You don't have to get married. You can have an abortion. You can kill yourself. Like, this is not how humans can exist in society. This creates a moral injury, not just on the individual, but I think our society is facing a moral injury, because what happens is that you never get a chance to be born into a place to where there is a pathway, where there is a place to go. When you're confused and you're developing and your mind is forming, your sexual maturity, primary, secondary sexual characteristics, psychologically, you're emotionally maturing, your prefrontal cortex is developing, and you're told there's no way to do life. There's no way to be. There's nothing you have to do. And when something bad happens to you, there's no solution. When you see the evil in the world, there's no solution. When you're born a white male, you're born who you are. There's nowhere for you to be. There's no promotions for you. And quite frankly, even your education has no standards. There's no value of even what you're doing. You're going to develop an entire generation. That's what we're seeing now, of people who are morally injured, broken into a society to where everyone has like a PTSD, where they're like freaked the fuck out. They're confused and they don't know what's going on. And there's no drug, there's no copium, there's no religion, there's nothing on earth that can save you. Which is why so many young people are becoming staunchly conservative, and so many are becoming Catholic, so many are becoming Orthodox, particularly the men, because they realize one thing: this is not a LARP here, this is genuine. Whether I follow him the way that he desires, I don't. And I'm working on that right now. But it's like, you're going to have to put your eyes on Christ. And you're not, and I'm saying this is why I'm scared for the young men that even are becoming like hyper religious. You know, it's like Christ is king with a meme of like some guy like beheading his wife or something like that. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
I'm preaching to myself here. It's just the truth. The only way out of this in a world of lies and deception is going to be when you put your eyes on ultimate truth, which is literally Christ. And I say this to all the religious zealots and non-religious young alike. Are you trying to just push Catholicism? Are you trying to just push Orthodoxy? Are you trying to push your rock concerts in your Protestant church? Trying to push your solo scriptura? Or are you telling people like, hey, you're messed up and you don't just need religion, you need God. You need Christ, and you got to learn to become like Christ. And yeah, it does seem impossible. Without God, all things are impossible. But with God, all things are possible for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. As someone who's learned this the hard way and is learning this again as an adult, even after going through a big moral injury myself, that's what I just went through. It shatters your worldview. The only thing that's going to fix is Jesus Christ and the peptide TRT stack that I mentioned earlier. Now I'm totally joking, but is that? But I will say, because of Christ as he comes in, you may have to take some medical things to fix. But with this stuff that we're seeing here, with this insanity in our country, with the things that are going on, I just have a word of wisdom for you. Take care of yourself and cast your cares upon God, because he cares for you, because no one in this world is really okay right now. Very few, maybe a few monks on Atmos, or what is it called?
Mount Athos.
Mount Athos. Maybe a few men in the Vatican who don't have to be around women. But I will tell you genuinely, you're gonna have to take this journey, take your life into your own hands, and you're gonna have to ask God to help you. Because even me, I'm 33, and my personal life, which I'm not gonna get into, the things that have happened have shocked me in ways, people that I've known. And I think that we're in a victim culture where people are just like, no humans had to go through this exactly. It's very confusing. Only people that went through this stuff were the bourgeois. That's why they were always weird and gay and wearing wigs and fucking each other, having orgies, and like, but the proletariat were always pretty consistent. But you know, the bourgeois were always messed up. And we're all bourgeois now. Mm-hmm. We all have knowledge. We all have access to money. Luxuries. You think you're poor, you're not poor. You might not have money, but you're not poor. And you live in the richest period in history for the common man, and it's not good for us. Easier it is, for a camel to pass through the eye of the needle, a gate that camels couldn't pass through. It's not a real needle, a gate that was meant to not allow animals in. It's easier for an animal to pass through an impassable gate that they can't get through than it is for a rich person to get into heaven. I think that was a warning for us today, as much as it was back then. The distractions, the ideologies, the moral injuries, you're going to have to not be a victim, and you don't need to get weird. You need to get normal. There's only two types of things in the world. There's normal people and everybody else, and there's only that pathway is through God, and I'll leave it there. And I think that's very important, and I kind of going to wrap up the show like that today. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching, and I really appreciate the importance of all of this stuff that's going on. And I want to remind you that, like somebody said, like, can you please stop talking about exploitation, child sexual development? No, it's important to explain a lot of our problems develop in our teenage years, and the insecurities that we get as we're developing carry on, and they carry on.
Yeah,
so,
one more shout out to Allens_Alps for all the super chats tonight. And also shout out to our journalists and clippers, US_Monarch, Groiper Firestick, and Nicholas Redmond. Thank you all for everything that you do for us. We really sincerely appreciate it. It's a lot of time you guys put in, so thanks.
Absolutely. We'll be back on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern time.
And you did tease our little project earlier.
Yeah, we have some
New
stuff.
America, the New America.
Well, we're going to be making like a little more interesting content. It's just taking a little bit of time, but we're actually putting together some good projects
here.
here.
Get through some legal shit. Okay, it's taken a few months, but we are getting back on track now. We're going to actually be producing some videos that we'll release on YouTube.
Shorter videos.
Locals as well. We'll do some original content for locals. So we're looking forward to it. We have done, I think we've done one kind of video like that together already. I'm not going to say too much. You know that the shit against us is bad when you walk into the Frisco PD to report something else, and they know you by name, and also they're like, they call you personally.
Yeah, they call you personally. Like, how are you doing? I'm aware that this
they're calling me as well.
Yeah, like they're like, it's gotten to the point, guys, where like I'm not gonna give any details, but like you get like a hi, this is officer, whatever. And it's like hi. Yeah,
it happened again.
A major crime was attempted against you, and someone just claimed that you committed a major crime, and yeah, I'm just gonna assume you're okay. And you're like, yep, I'm fine. And you're like,
give any more details?
No, you go, I'm fine. And then it's like this. You're like, where are you? I'm actually in the Frisco Police Department right now, following up an investigation on another serious incident that happened towards us.
Our life is a little bit of a mess.
You go in there and they go, which report are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And you're like, whatever. But it's been fun, and I'm just gonna say, it's good. Though it's good. My last point here is it's good because a couple weeks ago I realized what I just told you. Life is never going to start making more sense. You're never going to stop having the memories of your own issues and faults. People are never going to stop doing wrong towards you. You're never going to stop having temptation to sin or temptation to do things wrong. Some say you can stop sinning. I don't believe that, but you can't do that. But what you can do is you can course correct at any point, because it's not a LARP here. People hate it when an imperfect person says something basic and true. The grace of God and the mercy of God extend throughout all generations, even before time and after, because God's grace and mercy is infinite. At any point, you can just drop your ego, give your heart to Christ. I don't mean you get resaved, just give your heart back to Christ, focus back on God, admit you're a knucklehead and that maybe you're just part of the problem, and ask God to give you the strength every day to try to work on the areas that you can, because you can't stop the world and you can't necessarily change it, and you can't make people do anything you want them to do.
It's for the ortho bros.
You can't just humble yourself.
Stop going after the Catholics and look inward and fix your own sin before you take the log out of your brother's eye. Huh?
I deserve to go to hell, and I recognize that every day.
True.
So I do deserve to go to hell, and that's a good reminder that it's like we all do. If you don't recognize that, that's okay, because sometimes I get distracted too. I'm focused on the waves. What happened with, I think it was Peter, right? With the waves, when Jesus walked on water.
Mm-hmm. Simon Peter.
Yeah. It was like, keep his eyes on Christ, and he can be in the midst of the storm, walk on water. Whether you believe that's an allegory or true, I think it's true, and I believe it's true. But when you start looking at the storm, you do sink. So Let's all try to walk on water. Let's all get in a boat and try to do it and look at the ortho
Christ
bros.
is king.
Let's get a bunch of ortho bros on the shore and keep our eyes on them. And maybe because we'll look at God.
The ortho bro hand sign.
Yeah. Maybe if we look at perfect ortho bros on X, we'll all be able to walk on water soon. Thanks, guys, again for watching. Shout out to everybody here in the chat. Shout out to the locals chat as well. I appreciate you. I will be on a stream tonight. There's a big gaming stream on Chad the Champion with like Hermes, Kai Schwemmer. Let me actually just name the list off just to give him a shout out on the show. This is the last thing I'm going to say. But the people that will be on the stream, Hermes, someone named Trey, don't know who that is. Vrilify will be on. Ignatz, love Ignatz at Vrilify. Chrome, don't know who that is. The Great Dane. Kai Schwemmer. Chad, what?
Chrome Barracuda?
Maybe.
Probably, yeah. Okay.
And myself. And I'll be playing my second video game of the year that I don't know how to play, and I'm going to be bad at it, but apparently we're going to have a stream. I'm not gonna make jokes that everyone's gonna think is real.
Thank you, please.
No. Yeah, I'm not gonna make very crass jokes that everyone thought was real. And I'll leave it at that. To the rest of you guys, have a great rest of the week. As always, shout out to Georgie. Shout out to Nikki, who's currently getting over a syphilis infection. And may God bless the United States of America. Very serious. Signing out.